Hey there, Danielle Matthews here. I'm coming to you live from Florida. It's Monday, it's book club day, and we are in the throes of loyalty to your soul. So we are reading chapter 6 today. It's called Meet the Stackers, which is a term I'd never heard of. But after reading this, it's a term that I will think about and will actually bring a smile to my face. So what this chapter really gets into, if you've considered, probably you've noticed in your life, there's like themes, like stuff you keep running into. Sometimes that maybe you don't enjoy running into, like, why am I always abandoned? Why don't people ever listen to me? Like, every situation I get into, it's like my voice can't even be heard, or like people never see my worth, all these people always leave me, I never received unconditional love. I only give it. Like, there's these things that are happening in our life, and I don't know what they are for you. Each of us, has our own themes, if you will, that we run into, and this chapter reveals why that is. It helps you understand the purpose of that and how to break out of the loop. Okay, so if you're joining me live here, let me know that you have arrived. It's always fun to talk with you while we do this. And if you're catching the replay, let me know that you're on the replay. We do this at noon Eastern time, my time, New York City time zone, every single Monday. And it's great to do this with you, and it is always a fabulous start to the week, and these are great things to consider. This is all about spiritual development, right? They call this spiritual psychology, the heart of spiritual psychology with this book. So let's dive in, shall we? All right, Meet the Stackers. It kicks off, I love the little quotes they've got at the start of these chapters. It kicks off, it says, some people help us, and some seem to hinder us. When seen through soul-centered eyes, they all serve to assist us in accomplishing our spiritual purpose. So remember, we have talked about why are we here? What is the purpose of being here? And when we understand that, then moment by moment, day by day, interaction by interaction, we start to see the beauty and the power in the things that are happening. And it's amazing. Every appointment is a divine appointment. Every person you meet, every situation that unfolds, they are all divinely guided to reveal things for us and to us. All right, so he started, I don't really want to get too deep into it. You kind of have to read it, where he's starting by basically making us really consider, like, what is time, which is like an abstract concept for us. Like, we just accept that time is a thing, but if you actually start to think about time, there's a lot that goes to it. And he really basically comes to realizing that the present moment is what there is and is what we all have. And time is kind of moving through us. we are in present moment now, and time is the thing that is moving, not us. And he says, there exists a perception of time that humankind has all agreed upon. Like, we all agree, right now it's 12:03. Okay, where I am and wherever you are in the world, though, it's a different time. But it's now for all of us, right? And he says, regardless of the physical nature of time, our focus in spiritual psychology involves the role that time plays in the dimension of personal experiential reality. So he talks about now. So what is now? Now is this moment. And if we think about now, there's stuff that happened in the past, right? Recent past, like what did you just do this weekend, 2 years ago, decades ago, when you were born, before you were born. And then there's stuff that happens in the future. And here's what he says. He says, I'm on page 116. He says, if the only real time in the context of human experience is now, we're faced with a very unusual challenge in perspective. Rather than time standing still and us moving through it, it's more accurate to say that we are standing still, and what we call time is moving through now. So it's we who are in reality, and time is just a changing variable. Hey, Lou, good to see you. So let's assume that you are standing still in the midst of now. All right. If you could look into the dimension of time, what would you see? There would appear a series of events stacked up like this. Those that have already happened, which is called the past, would be seen as moving away from now in one direction, and in the other would be called the future. Would be a lineup of probable events, patiently waiting for their time to come into manifestation, into the now. In other words, experientially speaking, you aren't going through time. Time is going through now. And he points out, he says, people with well-developed clairvoyant abilities can foresee these potential futures stacked up, waiting to appear in someone's life now. Have any of you, put a 1 in the chat, Have any of you experienced or met someone that has these abilities, or able to tap into just a different like level of consciousness, and they're able to say, you know, this is coming in your future? I have had the unique experience of that happening, and I actually had someone tell me, like, before I got together with Eddie, that was about to happen. They told me, and I like laughed at them, and I said, no, that's not a possible thing that's going to occur. And sure enough, there it unfolded, and really, really fascinating. And so, you know, people have different conscious levels of awareness. We all do. And it's an interesting thing to consider. And so it's like, well, if that is already there, this moves us into a question. And I've had this direct experience. I'm like, I know that people exist with this ability. Like, how are they seeing that? And who is deciding what's coming next? Right? This is what he gets to. He says, if you're willing to consider the possibility of a queue of probable events, which I am because of my direct experience, and I've seen it happen. I've seen someone tell me this exact thing is going to occur, and then that exact thing occurred. Moving into your experience one at a time, the important questions are then, who determines the lineup? It's a good question. Who is deciding what is coming into the now moment for me? And how is that particular kind of event, how is it that particular kind of event seems to occur with greater frequency than others? So this is what I was talking about at the beginning, how some of us are like having to relive and re-experience the same thing. Like, my voice is never heard. Like, no one ever pays attention to me. Like, I keep being abandoned. These things that we repetitively like come up with. Why do these things keep coming? Like, why are they queued up, coming and waiting for us? He says, this is the concept of the stackers. This is where the term comes from. Okay, so pay attention. He says, consider the possibility that you have spiritual allies who stack up potential events in accordance with your Earth school curriculum, right? We all, in this perspective, have come here to learn things, right? For our spiritual development, deeper learnings, not like I'm learning how to tie my shoes, but like I'm learning how to deal with abandonment, okay? So we have these things, and there are karma, and then they send them to you at opportune moments in support of your spiritual growth. So they're deciding, okay, it's time for this lesson. It's time for this test. It's going to pass now, right? And since these helpers are in charge of the stack of events queued up in the field of possibilities, they say we'll call them the stackers. All right, so this is where the term the stackers comes from. It's what is stacked up, ready, in line, coming for you next, okay? And he says they provide you with learning opportunities consistent with your soul's curriculum. So never get upset by what's unfolding. Just know, wow, this is what I'm here to experience. Like, this is my work. And I know it is because it's the thing that's unfolding. It's the thing that's getting triggered. It's the thing that I'm needing to focus on. He says, remember, the soul doesn't judge these experiences as good or bad. There is no good or bad. It's all learning. Okay? It knows, as do the stackers, that after your hour upon the stage, no matter how glorious or tumultuous it may have been, you will return to your home in wholeness or holiness. That was beautiful. I never put together, like, you know, the holiness that we hear about in religion and wholeness is the same. With greater depth of wisdom, compassion, and understanding, having used your experiences in service of your spiritual evolution. It's like, we've talked about this before, but it's like, once you realize you're an actor in the play, the ups and the downs don't matter so much because you realize you're watching it. It's like you go to a movie and you can get lost in the movie and the ups and the downs of the actresses and the drama and blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of fun even to go and get lost in all of that. But some part of you knows, like, I'm witnessing this. Like, I'm not the one there. I know that this is going to come to an end, and I know that it's not going to impact my life in any way, shape, or form, my actual life, my actual being. It's the same. What they're saying is, like, this is like a simulation, if you will. And on a side note, saying that word, I have watched some of the smartest people on this planet. And what science says, like, the percentage chance that this is a simulation is something like upper 90s. Like, it's kind of crazy when you do the math on it. But the simulation being exactly what they're talking about. Like, we are here, but it's an impermanent thing. It's not a real thing. It's like, it feels real, but there's something beyond it. It's like the movie feels real, but like you're watching it. Okay, it's the same thing. Hope that made sense. It's a big one. All right. They said, often the most admired people are those who have demonstrated that even the greatest challenge, tragedy, or injustice can eventually bear life-nourishing spiritual fruit. All right. And I've been through this. I know this myself. You can look at different people and situations and they'll say the same thing. I'm so grateful that this happened. Right. Difficult circumstances can impel you on an inward journey that deepens your conscious connection with your essential self. Wow. Wow. I'm going to read it again. Difficult experiences, they can impel you on an inward journey. They do. They force you into self-discovery, self-mastery, inner work, all right? That will deepen your conscious connection to your essential self, to that witness that's there, the one watching the movie, your true self. All right? He says, they also can open your eyes to a greater purpose in life, enhance your compassionate connection with others, and enable you to be of greater service in the world. You know, I was just with a student, we did an intensive weekend, and we were talking about just how it came to be that we were together doing this yoga therapy intensive in person. And it was so interesting. They said, you know, my life had to fall apart in order for me to get here. The things that they had to go through. And I kind of laughed and I said, me too, right? I had to have this car accident so that the way I was going was completely derailed. And it seemed tragic at the time, but now looking back, 13 years on, it's like, well, of course that had to happen. And thank goodness it happened, because now I'm in this position where I understand life on a much deeper, richer level, and I'm having a much happier experience with the whole thing. All right, it's way more fun. And the same thing had to be true for them to end up with me, working with me, getting at these things, like learning what are these spiritual lessons that you're supposed to be learning. So it's just absolutely beautiful. When you have this lens and perspective, you stop being the victim to what's showing up in your life. You realize this is here, it's a lesson or it is a test. How can I pass it, right? Because once you pass it, you're out of the loop, okay? Before we get there, let me finish on here. I'm on page 119. He says, within the context of spiritual psychology, your life experiences collectively provide continual opportunities for learning the lessons of your spiritual curriculum. And he says, time to breathe a big sigh of relief. Everyone is destined to graduate from the Earth School. You're going to make it, guys. Don't stress. Okay? Don't stress. He says, it really is just a matter of time, so to speak. And since the only time is now, you may as well get busy with your spiritual work, which is always available via the experiences at hand. All right? So you just have to look at what is showing up right now in my life. What people, what situations, what circumstances are becoming relevant in my life right now. That's your work. Okay? And he says, your ego, of course, would disagree. From within the dualistic framework of seeing things, you tend to define upcoming events as good or bad, blessings or curses. That's the problem. This is for me, this is against me, right? This happened to me, blah, blah, blah. This is where we get out of alignment with what's happening in life, this dualistic look, okay? He says, but when viewed from a higher perspective, events themselves are just neutral. They're not happening for you, they're not happening against you, they're not happening to you, they're just happening. They are simply happening, and you do this crazy psychological backflip to make it about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. Okay? He says they aren't set up for punishment, success, or failure. They're set up for learning. Okay? So you're wanting to catch your mind. Like moment by moment, the ego trick is making this for me or against me, choosing for or against. This is good or bad. I like this. I don't like this. It's when those things come up, you go, here's my learning. Here I am, right? Stop having preference, accept how it is. Reality's already shown up just as it is. So, having difficulty resisting it makes no freaking sense. You're just going to have misery inside. It's already here, right? That's what we're learning. And so you just moment by moment have to look at what's coming. And, he shares this experience that he and his wife had with a flat tire. And so I want to ask you, right? You were reading this chapter. It was on your mind in the last week. Just look at the last week. Probably just look at yesterday. Right? I mean, literally, it is a target-rich environment for places for us to grow, okay? Look at just yesterday. Where did you get triggered? Where did something come up? Where did you dislike something? Where did you go, Where did you get pulled off center? Okay, this is what's happening all the time to us. And so just look at where you had the chance to practice. And don't judge yourself if you didn't practice. This is all about self-discovery, right? Figuring out where you're going to be able to practice. But you can be proactive next time. You can look for these things. You can see it for what it is. You can use it as an experience to grow, to realize what these things are for you that you're stuck in. And that's the beauty of it. So this all kind of came to the culmination of two principles that they shared in this chapter. Principle 15. You create your future by how you respond to experiences now. How to explain this? Like, I have so many thoughts going through my head right now. So what they're saying is that if you are able to, in this now moment, see something that used to trigger you, and now you don't get triggered by it. You stay neutral with it. You accept it, right? You see that it's not the thing out there. It's the thing in me I need to work on. Once you see that and you don't get triggered, it's like you've passed the test. And so you're not going to have to learn that lesson again. Once you learn the lesson, you go to the next level. This is how you get out of the loop. Okay, so if you're constantly having to feel like my voice is never heard, or, people always abandon me, I'm not worth it, whatever it is that you're learning, once you learn it, once you actually cross a situation and you handle it differently, you choose a different reaction, a different interaction, right? Now, all of a sudden, the future events that they're going to stack for you are not going to include that lesson. Because you passed, right? Because you passed. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. So moment by moment, you start to set up life to be simpler and simpler for yourself because you're learning the lessons that you came here to learn. And the faster you learn, the easier your future is going to be, okay? Principle 16, he says, how you relate to an issue is the issue. And how you relate to yourself while you go through the issue is the issue. What they're pointing to is, it's not what's happening out there, it's what's happening in here. I have shared with you what I think encapsulates like all of these principles, which is you have the external world plus your internal response that creates your reality. Period, end of sentence. Where do you have control? Not on the external world. The issue is not the external. The issue is not who's president of the United States. It's just not. It's not. And if you're making that an issue, it's because you're having an internal response to it. And so you need to look at why you're having that internal response. That's your work. That is the issue. It's not what's happening out there. But society will tell you, oh, it's all about what's happening out there. Control what's happening out there. We shouldn't be triggering one another. We shouldn't call people by this name or that name or say this thing because it might trigger them. Give me a break. I should, in fact, call them that name so that they are triggered so that they can do their work, right? But I'm not going to do that. But it's like you need to have a different lens. You need to have a different lens on life. Okay, that's how it goes. That's absolutely how it goes. He says, all the flowers of all the tomorrows are planted in the seeds of today. That is a Chinese proverb. I love it. All of the flowers of all of the tomorrows are planted in the seeds of today. In order to get a future, the tree, it's going to drop fruit, right? That fruit holds the seeds of the tree it just came from. So if you want to plant a new tree with different fruits and different seeds, you have to change now. When you change now, that seed changes. And it then creates the tree that's different, that creates the fruit that's different, and your life will be different. This is how you get out of the loop. You have to learn. You have to, not from okay, I get it. Like, get it in the moment that you're being triggered and drop it. Just drop it. All right, that's what you got to learn, okay? How you respond to now is what draws in what's next. Did you pass the test or not? Are we still in this class or are we moving to the next level? Okay, is this making sense? Put a 5 in the chat if it's making sense. Like, high five me. Good to see you, Doug. Glad you're here. All right, recognizing a test from your stackers. He says, the more people learn to make choices in alignment with their loving nature, the more life seems to smooth out and the less they seem to have to deal with experiences they'd prefer not to. Yeah, because as you learn your lessons, you have less and less to master in this life now. Like, you kind of covered it. Okay, makes sense? It's like, yay, let's do that. He says also, when you do have challenges, once you have this self-mastery and this self-discovery, you're more conscious, you are more resilient, you are more effective at responding to things. The stuff that used to pull you off center just doesn't anymore. Your center is very strong. He also says, even when you've demonstrated mastery over parts of your curriculum, every now and then they'll set up one of those old used-to-be distress experiences just to check that you've truly mastered the learning, right? You're like, I thought we were over this. And then it comes again. It's like, you got to learn it. He shares about a dream with his mom, like over his shoulder, nagging him. And he flips out in his dream. And then his mom laughs and says, I got you, right? And it's like, we need to continue to be triggered to continue to release this stuff. Okay, the triggers are the teachers. I loved this comment that was made here at, it's the chancellor of their foundation on page 124. He says, tests are not necessarily tribulations. They're not. Don't see them that way. He says, they are areas of revelation. They're actually the most beautiful things. The triggers are the teachers. They are the beautiful moments in life. He says, tests are for you to reveal unto yourself where you have to work and what you have to do. You know, you want to be triggered. You need the weather pattern to be created so that seed that's inside of you can be revealed. Otherwise, you're holding that seed and you're drawing in stuff at that frequency in your life that you don't want. And until you realize that it's you that's drawing it in, you're stuck with it. Okay? So you need these external experiences to reveal what's in there. He says, you can say, this is neat, and go toward it and clear it, right? Be excited about it. I'm always like, ooh, what was that? All right, here we go again. Let's find out what that's about. You can't get away from it, so you might just as well go toward it and clear it. You can't get away from it. If you don't deal with it now, you're going to have to deal with it later, all right? So you may as well deal with it now so that your later is easier. Hello. He says, or if it can't be cleared immediately, maybe you're to learn patience. Maybe that is the lesson that you're learning. I know patience is definitely one I've had to learn. Or experience a certain level of learning compassion. Maybe you're having to learn how to be compassionate towards others. All right, and so you're in a situation that you can't change because you're forced to be patient with it. That's the lesson, is the patience. And or also, maybe it's something about learning to be compassionate to the external, to somebody outside of you. He says, there are many possibilities, and all you have to do in any situation is use it to direct yourself in a positive consciousness. To go, what interaction and reaction could I have here that's going to take me in the direction that I want to go? That's it. That's what life's about, my friends. Okay, so clear. He says, how you deal with every life situation now is of paramount importance in determining your future situations. Like, it's coming and it's going to come again and again, and sometimes the lessons will get louder and louder and louder until you listen. And if you don't listen, sometimes it comes as a massive health event, right? And it's like, I'm going to force you to slow down to listen. That's what happened to me. Okay, if you say that you'll choose differently later, like, oh, next time I'll do it, right? If you're saying this, after such and such has happened, all you're really saying is that you're not ready to face it, whatever it is. But you have the opportunity to address it now, so face it now, my friends. Don't keep kicking the can down the road. Don't keep prolonging the inevitable, all right? We don't know about you, he says, but we're clear that the name of the game is to learn how to walk through the rest of this lifetime with as much acceptance, accept what's here, kindness, compassion, and joy as possible. Our intention is to heal as many unresolved issues as we can. I think this is a solid guide to life, right? I'm like, now that I know this, I want to learn everything I can and get my slate as clear as I can, right? He says, we know that the more we can peel away or dissolve the restricting conditioned patterns that mask who we truly are, the more we will see through soul-centered eyes and realize our loving nature. And at the same time, and perhaps even more important, we want to learn how to make both inner and outer choices such that we don't create new limiting patterns as we go forward. I know I was listening to my teacher speak yesterday, and he said it's like a lampshade. Like, you are this divine, beautiful light, but there's a shade over top of it. And once you realize this, you start to peel away the shade. But there's layers and layers, and sometimes it's thicker in some places than others, before you can get to that true white light that's in there, which is your true essence, right? You have to go through these layers. And what are the layers? It's the triggers. It's the things that are setting you off. Those are the things you've got to learn to release so that you can get to your true essence. I don't know about you, but it's a good visual. I like that visual. All of us, he says, have learned this phrase, you need to live in the now, right? All spiritual teachings, be in the present moment. You need to be in the now. Hopefully you now understand why. Why do you need to be in the now? Do you get it? Does it make sense now? Like, you need to be in the now because if you deal with the stuff in the now and you deal with whatever's triggering you in the now, then your future is going to be much easier. Okay, he says, it didn't make any sense until we considered it in this context of spiritual progression. So hopefully it is making sense to you now. All right. He had these sentence starters at the end. One of them I actually didn't understand, so maybe one of you did and can clarify for me. He had 3. He has, if now is the only time that exists, then ... I hope you guys are filling these out. I wrote, if now is the only time that exists, then I'd better be fully present to what is unfolding internally and externally. All right? Pay attention to what's happening externally to you. So many people are just like not aware of what is going on. They're really not fully present in any moment. And it is so obvious. Once you become clear, you're like, wow, people are not present. And also, when you're in the present moment, you can see your internal stuff coming up. Like you're really very clear on what's your stuff. Next, some of my stackers include, I didn't understand that question. I thought he said the stackers were these spiritual guides that are not on the, like, how can you know who your stackers are? I didn't understand that question. So if any of you understood it, let me know because it was not clear to me. But the next one, he says, lessons my stackers are helping me to learn are, for me, I put self-worth, patience. I've had to learn that one. Still have to learn it. Still keep getting opportunities to learn that one. Non-attachment, that has been a big one. If any of you guys know that have spoken to me this year, so starting, it was actually Valentine's Day of this year, we got chickens. And then it became a whole thing. We got little babies and then we like hatched our own and we had 17 of them. And now we have one because a virus that is external, that it's only avian, that only impacts birds, somehow our chickens got exposed to it, and one by one, it's just been taking them out. This thing is just relentless, and we have had to learn non-attachment. We had a very clear view about what we were doing and wanting to create and to have all these eggs and blah, 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 and we made this beautiful coop and we changed our whole backyard, and non-attachment. I have had to been slapped in the face with that constantly this year, and I'm like, okay, let go of the result of your actions. That is what I am learning. I don't know what you are learning, but it is what I am learning right now, and I am very clear about it, and I'm like, okay, I want to learn because, man, having to watch little beings die that you're in charge of is like a very hard lesson, and I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm saying, like, mercy. I think I've learned it. So look for where you are with these things. The light of awareness is so helpful to shine on them. And it's really important. Who in your life is creating situations for you to learn? Oh, okay. So what they're saying is some of my stackers include, okay, I wondered if that's what they meant, but then they defined the stacker as someone that's not in your life. So yeah, so probably stackers in your lives are like people that are close to you. My chickens were my stackers, I guess you would say. My chickens were my little chickies. All right. Well, thank you for clarifying. Appreciate you guys. I hope this is wonderful context for you. Many of you know I launched this 7-day journey on how to not be triggered, which is so in alignment with this book right now. And that is living on a WhatsApp chat group at the moment and will be put up on actually a different YouTube channel, the Heal with Danielle YouTube channel, and you will be able to see that. So it'll be really good to stay connected with all of this. If you want to do that journey, you just click into that WhatsApp chat. Let me know. We start today. So it's like last call because we're starting. All right. So what else did we say here? For some reason, I can't see my chat very well. Let me move this around. No. Oh, that's annoying, Facebook. That's how your stackers are showing up in this lifetime. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right. I appreciate you guys. This is always a blast having these conversations. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope that it is shifting and changing things for you and making you more aware and just be in the now moment. Okay? Day by day, moment by moment. That's what we got. All right. Lots of love. I'll see you guys.